customers and give them the information they need to make informed purchase decisions at the speed of light. Your telepresence includes everything that touches your customer remotely, from your business card to your email address. And today's business climate changes too fast for customers to wait for a salesperson's visit. Recently, while standing in line at the baggage check line in SFO, Orvel met Bill Yake, Vice President of Marketing for Sign-On, a software company that produces applications development engines for AS400 and PC network platforms. They struck up a conversation, and by this time they had checked their bags. Orvel had checked his calendar, and they had a date hold to provide 4 days of guerrilla sales training for their offices in Marin County, California, and in London. On the way to the plane, Orvel used his cell phone to call the lead into the office. Our staff FedExed a packet of tapes and literature to Bill, then called his office the next day to verify that he had received the material. Orvel found out later that Bill was also considering 2 other sales training firms. When asked what won us the contract, Bill explained that he had visited our website, and while he thought it was content-rich but graphically challenged, he also checked the hot links to several of our client references. Everything together, telephone, FedEx, and web, gave us the credibility he was looking for. It established us as a player in the industry. Our combined telepresence, rather than just a barrage of personal follow-up calls, gave us the winning edge. Creating a telepresence. The secret to getting the sale when you can't be there in person is creating an effective telepresence. It begins with the concept for your product or service and extends to everything that your customer sees, hears, or feels that represents you or your firm. It's how and what your customers think of you, whenever and wherever they think of you. Your telepresence is a combination of all of the marketing weapons in your arsenal. It should be consistent with your image and your identity. When deployed effectively, your telepresence creates an atmosphere of rapport and trust. When ineffectively deployed, it can tarnish your reputation, damage your credibility, and even destroy your business. This book goes far beyond the boundaries of traditional telephone sales. Sure, we will show you how to make outbound calls that get through to the decision-maker. We'll show you how to leave compelling voicemail messages that get your call returned every time. We'll show you how to create fabulous faxes and exciting electronic presentations that will win customers. We'll share secret tips for saving money on your cell phone and new ways to make your pager a vital link to your customers. We'll also explore how modern technologies, including computers, satellites, fiber optics, microwaves, color printers, laser copiers, and online communications, can combine to effectively project yourself far beyond the boundaries of your current territory. Although the telephone has traditionally been the salesperson's ally, it has lately become our nemesis. With voicemail, email, and snail mail standing between us and our customers, the modern sales guerrilla must mobilize unconventional weapons and tactics. This book was written for the everyday salesperson taking care of customers every day. It's for you if you're being forced to manage more accounts in a bigger territory in less time than ever before. It is not designed for the call center, yet professional telemarketers can benefit greatly from its advice. Who will get the most from Guerrilla Teleselling? This book takes a solid here's what you do to be successful approach, with lots of real-life examples. These concepts get results. This information will help you make more money by serving more customers in more places in more ways than you ever dreamed possible. The effect on your productivity and your net income will be exponential. Guerrilla Teleselling is written for salespeople, sales managers, marketing managers, and entrepreneurs who need to establish, manage, or expand new or existing telephone sales operations. For these people, this book answers critical questions. Sales Professional. This material is for sales professionals at all levels who dread making cold calls. It's also for the sales professional who wants to be more effective on the phone. The tactics have been tested in hundreds of training seminars conducted by the authors for client companies all over the world and have been proven effective in thousands of sales situations. How to simultaneously conduct a presentation with a prospect in one city, an engineering team in another, and a financier in a third, all at the same time without leaving home. How to use teleselling to confirm appointments and get ushered in past the security desk straight to the buyer. How to most effectively use the telephone to help manage time, territory, and client relationships. How to use voicemail as a sales tool instead of a sales barrier. How to get the prospect to review your literature and grant you an appointment on the spot. How to save money on primetime cellular service. Sales Manager. Guerrilla Teleselling is for the sales manager who's been with the company for a while, whose boss says, "We want you to set up a telemarketing department. Round up half a dozen or so people and do what you can. We've given you a budget of $10,000. How to avoid costly fines and judgments by understanding what the law allows. How to attract, screen, interview, and train effective telesales personnel. How to develop effective scripts. How to prepare your sales force to use teleselling effectively. Where do you go for information on teleselling? Marketing Manager. Telemarketing is a significant portion of this year's marketing allowance. How will you guarantee the program's success? How can you make sure this major investment will move the company forward and increase the value of your stock options? Entrepreneur. What kind of equipment will you need, from computers and software to desks and headsets? How can a small company compete with larger companies? How can you use technology to bolster your teleselling efforts, including email, voicemail, and fax on demand? Part 1. Getting Ready for Business. Chapter 1. Why teleselling? Teleselling is hot. Every week, over 100 million sales calls are made by phone. Every year, these calls generate $370 billion in sales. Effective use of the telephone is critical to millions of people's livelihoods. Today, over 40 million Americans work formally or informally at home. These modern telecommuters rely heavily on the telephone for contact with clients, customers, and co-workers. As much as 1/3 of the members of chambers of commerce are home-based businesses. Major corporations are moving large numbers of staff to working out of their home. Notable trendsetters are Xerox, with 5,000 home-based workers, and IBM, where most of their sales staff are home-based. In informal polls we've conducted of sales professionals nationwide, 40% office out of their home. Over 80% of the workers in America are employed by companies with fewer than 50 employees. These firms depend on the telephone to conduct business efficiently. The consumer backlash. The owner of a major league ball club is suspended for offhand racist remarks. A candidate for attorney general has her career cut short by an obsolete tax law. GM is fined $105 million for a faulty design, then sues NBC for staging a fire for a news story. The new liberal administration is clearly turning toward conservative values of home, hearth, and family, calling for mandatory registration of lobbyists and major campaign finance reform. A new energy tax will help reduce the federal deficit while cutting carbon dioxide emissions. No more business as usual. Managers in both the public and private sectors are struggling to define new boundaries of what's right and correct, fighting to curb waste, fraud, and inefficiency. The message is clear. To function in the hypersensitive business climate of the 21st century, professionals in all fields must conduct their affairs under a new, more stringent set of moral, ethical, and social standards. American consumers have been victimized by fraudulent schemes, mostly via phone, and Congress has responded by passing laws to protect them. Know the law. The newest revision to the Telephone Consumer Fraud Protection Act, TCFPA, 47 U.S.C. 227, of 1994, went into effect on January 1, 1996. After this date, a single mistake by a sales representative could cost your company up to $10,000. The legislation demands that sales organizations maintain a written policy, available upon demand, for maintaining a do-not-call list. The law imposes a fine of $500 on an unwanted sales call by phone. And if it can be shown that the call was made willfully or knowingly against the wishes of the consumer, a judge can impose a fine of up to triple that amount. As a legitimate business that sells ethically, you must still be cautious not to break the law. The Federal Trade Commission and your state's Attorney General have a great deal of power to prosecute fraudulent or